Hey everyone. Today's March 27th, 2020. In this video, I'm going to talk about the numerology of a news story we got last week. Maggie Griffin shared news that on St. Patrick's Day this year, she lost her mother, Maggie Griffin, who was another known actor, born in Chicago, Illinois, way back in the year 1920. Making her 99 years old at the time of passing. Now in this video, we talk about numerology with a primary focus on the language of Gematria. Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. This practice is called Simple English Gematria, and in the most basic cipher, called English Ordinal, where each letter is assigned a number relative to its position in the alphabet. Notice how the word simple has a numeric value of 74, S the 19th letter, I the 9th, M the 13th, and so on. English also sums to 74 using the same calculation method, and the practice is called Gematria. Gematria also summing to 74. It began as a Jewish practice, as studied in the Hebrew Torah. Jewish equals 74, and it's a form of mysticism, much like a deck of tarot cards. Tarot also summing to 74 in the alphabetic order. And in this video, we're going to discuss the numeric riddle that lies underneath the story about Maggie Griffin's mother passing away. And this time, we're actually going to start with the headline, Gematria. CNN's headline reads, Maggie Griffin says she is gutted as she shares that her mother has died. Some might recognize this as slightly awkward wording, but I assure you that's because they were looking for a specific Gematria value. Using the alphabetic order, again, English Ordinal, CNN's headline gives us a numeric value of 666. Down in the description below, there's a link to one of my videos called The Circle in Language, and I explain how this language, particularly both the alphabetic order and Latin Gematria, also known as Jewish Gematria, combine to essentially weave the mathematics of the circle into the language and much of our calendar. The number 666, very significant. Of course, it's recognized as the number of the beast in the book of Revelation. We'll get into that in a little bit. The Earth having a 66.6 degree tilt from its plane to the sun. And of course, every human made up of mostly carbon, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. In Gematria, mathematics of the circle gives us a numeric value of 666 in Jewish Gematria. Now, if you multiply 6 times 6 times 6 on a calculator, you get a product of 216, and that same phrase sums to 216 in the alphabetic order. In another cipher called English Sumerian, which is the alphabetic order 1 through 26, but multiplied by 6, the number of time. Notice how Maggie Griffin has a numeric value of both 666 in Sumerian and 216 in Jewish Gematria. Again, the same numbers that appear in the Gematria of mathematics of the circle, which again is what this language is built around. Notice the reduction value of this phrase. This is also called Pythagorean Gematria, where each double-digit number is reduced to a single digit prior to adding it to the equation. In this cipher, mathematics of the circle sums to 99. Maggie Griffin's mother has passed away at the age of 99 years old. Whether you use her full name or her nickname, we find that her maiden name sums to 99 and 990 in trigonal gematria. Maggie Griffin was born on June 10th of 1920 and passed away on St. Patrick's Day. There's a couple of alignments I want to talk about. But let's start with the fact that this news was published on March 18th. Now, on my channel, I talk very frequently about how both dates are usually significant, the date on which someone passes and the next day on which the news actually picks up on the story. Well, first of all, notice how she was 9 months and 9 days after her 99th birthday. But if we instead simply look at the number of days, we get this 283. So she was 283 days after her birthday when she died. In Jewish gematria, the number 666, when spelled out, sums to 2,083. Furthermore, 283 is a prime number. Notice how it's the 61st prime number? Maggie Griffin was born on the date June 10th, which in numerology represents 6-1. And the date on which this news broke had numerology of 61, 3 plus 18 plus 20 plus 20. In fact, if you think about the date March 13th or 18th, as it's written internationally, 18/3, well, 183 is 3 times 61. What I also notice is that if you look at the actual date that she died, she was 281 days after her birthday. This was a date with 60 numerology. And the 60th prime number, is 281. So both days have a prime alignment with this age. And that's not even all there is to it. There's actually more. We find that she was also 1,197 months old when she died. When we write out 666 in Jewish gematria, we get this value of 1197. Worth mentioning, too, let's figure this out here. Actually have this on another page. So Kathy Griffin, if you look at her full name, we get a reverse value of 311. And of course, we know that 666 is the number of the beast, which equals 311 in Jewish gematria. So a deep 666 riddle here, but there's actually more to this. Now, as I discussed, these numbers relevant to the mathematics of the circle, which this language appears to be built around. Well, notice in Satanic Gematria, the name Griffin has a numeric value of 314. Satanic Gematria, of course, built around the number 666. In this cipher, the phrase Satanic Gematria equals 666. 666, the 36th triangular number. This cipher begins with the number 36. And notice how it ends on the number 61, a number we just talked about. Well, 61 is the 18th prime number, and when you add 6 plus 6 plus 6, you get a sum of 18. So in this very special Satanic Gematria cipher, notice how Griffin equals 314. And of course, if you're at all familiar with the mathematics of the circle, you know that these are the first 3 digits of pi, 3.14. Using English extended gematria, the cipher that most closely mirrors the Hebrew and Greek gematria and isopsephy charts, notice how dementia equals 314 in this method. 314 minutes, or I should say 3 hours and 14 minutes, is 194 minutes. Dementia also 194 in Jewish gematria. And as far as the 71 goes, Kathy Griffin equals 71, losing her mother to dementia. In Jewish gematria, pi equals 69. And it's pretty interesting that Maggie equals 69. Griffin equals 69. And Maggie Griffin all equal 69. Notice how the name Griffin also has several overlaps with the word eclipse in our base ciphers. And we're going to talk about how this is related to the Great American Solar Eclipse, which Maggie Griffin was born just after the last one. Get to that in a second. Actually, let's explain that now. So back in the year 1918, there was a total solar eclipse that went from coast to coast in the United States, entering in Washington, leaving in Florida. Interestingly enough, if you measure from this total solar eclipse to the birth of Maggie Griffin, we get exactly 2 years and 2 days. Notice how total solar eclipse equals 202. Her daughter, Kathleen Mary Griffin, also with this 202. She was born in the year 1920, which represents the number 192 in gematria. The word eclipse equals 192 in the Jewish cipher. Now, we didn't have another coast-to-coast eclipse for 99 years here in the United States. The next one occurred on August 21st of 2017, and if you were fortunate like me, you got to see it with your own eyes. And this eclipse was separated from the last one by 99 years, and it just so happens that Maggie Griffin has now passed away at the age of 99. Well, if we measure from that Great American Eclipse to the date that Maggie Griffin passed away, we get 134 weeks. And not only does solar eclipse equal 134, but her daughter, Kathy Griffin, also 134. Notice the 190 they both share in reverse. Solar eclipses often separated by exactly 19 years thanks to the 19-year metonic cycle. The sun in the tarot deck, in fact, is the 19th card. There you see the 19 in Roman numerals right there. Well, if you measure, like I said, from that eclipse to the date of her death, you get 134 weeks. And Kathy Griffin, born on 11/4, notice how the death was exactly 134 days after Kathy Griffin's birthday. And of course, 134, this is simply a rearrangement of the first three digits of pi, 314. Now, if you divide 314 by 2, you get the prime number 157. Well, check out how the name Griffin equals 157. And what really blew me away about this, I guess you could also say she died 157 days before the anniversary of the Great American Eclipse. But check out her husband, She was married to John Griffin, who died on February 17th of 2007. And look how many days were between their deaths. The Griffin couple died exactly 157 months apart. Griffin equals 157 in Gematria. Of course, there's more alignments that are definitely worth mentioning. Notice how Maggie Griffin equals 84 in Gematria. This story came out about her death 84 days before her birthday. And in Sumerian Gematria, Kathy Griffin equals 804. In reduction, the name Maggie equals 33. Notice the 120 like Eclipse 120, Griffin 120. Anyway, the 33 is what's relevant here. If you measure from her death, or I should be more specific, the date of the news story, to Kathy Griffin's next birthday, you get exactly 33 weeks. The word eclipse, also 33 in reduction. And on that date, Kathy Griffin will be 60 years old. 33 equals 60 in Gematria. So does 666 in reduction. And of course, her mother Maggie dying on a date with 60 numerology. Kathy Griffin's full name sums to 103 in reduction, this representing the number 13. And 13, the only number that has gematria of 99 in the alphabetic order. And of course, again, her mother dying at the age of 99. Just for kicks, the number 13, also summing to the 69th prime number in Gematria. And again, that's relevant because Griffin summing to 69. So, I'm sure there's more to it. This 804 actually makes me wonder if there's not something to do with the total lunar eclipses as well with this story. 804 and 103, just like Kathy Griffin's full name. So let's real quick measure to the last total lunar eclipse to the date of this story and see, oh, look at this. Something pops right away. 60 weeks and 1 day. This 61, the 18th prime, very relevant. Also, 1 year and 56 days. Now, the number 156 is very significant to this whole thing, too. You may have noticed that 33 equals 156. So does 666. So does triple sixes. And if you go from the last total lunar eclipse to the death of Maggie Griffin, you get 1 year, 56 days. Now, an eclipse can only occur either 1, 5, or 6 lunar phases after the most recent eclipse. And in Gematria, the word for eclipse which, okay, it says an impairment now on Google Translate. I assure you this is the word they use for eclipse in that phrase. Eclipse, summing to 156 in Hebrew. Let's take a shot and look at the next total lunar eclipse. 1 year and 71 days. Wasn't that a number that was relevant? Hang on. Oh, yeah. Margaret Corbally, her maiden name, 171. And this is actually the 18th triangular number, tying back into the 666 code. Remember her name summing to 99 in this method? All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. We've certainly seen a lot in this video to convince us, hopefully, that this code of letters and numbers, this idea that we live in a geometric universe, the matrix, so to speak, and that geometry has a way of manifesting through language. These are all pretty interesting things, and maybe someone's going to make a video saying that her mother was murdered by the numbers. Again, to those I ask, who kept her alive for 99 years, you know? But no matter how you look at it, very, very intriguing numerology from top to bottom in this story. All right, guys, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more of the best in-depth decodes with gematria and dates here on YouTube. Please feel free to check out the blog. The links are all on your screen and below down in the description. The Discord's been hopping a lot lately, with people quarantined and not much else to do, but running numerology on this whole virus scare has always been enlightening, and didn't really talk about it in this video. It was nice not to, but definitely relevant these days. And yeah, we'll see you around here on YouTube, guys. Peace, love, God bless, and talk to you next time. See ya!